we're gonna be having any air hammers going off in the background.
Well, we are live for Fireside Chat number, once again, forgetting the number, I think we're
I think we're
59?
58 at this point.
58 or 59, I was thinking, yeah.
I may be wrong.
I'll find out in a second here, I think. Let's see here. Give me a second. I'm curious now, I have to know.
Yeah, this is 59.
It is 59, yeah, uploaded 58 6 days ago, so that should be right. Alright. Well, as far as stuff going on this week, kind of some, a little bit of shuffling around in House Tane. I'm not sure if that may have been just after the last Fireside or exactly, but right now, a few moving around. We've got Late Frothy, aka Vinia's, been named the new Prince of House Dane. Bjorn Starner's the new Lord of House Dane, and I've heard there's a lot of rumblings about working on potentially new families, and of course, a lot of you have probably heard about Manny Gothi wanting to start his new house, and people have been keeping in communication with me about that. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming, I think, in terms of House Dane and from House Dane. And that kind of leads me into Knights, which I know at the very least, having being on the council of every house, that both Dippity and Dane are working through ideas for Knights. I don't want to spoil anything, but I know at least for me as Lord of House Dippity, if anybody has any ideas or anything they want to contribute to that, feel free to let me know. Right now we're kind of putting just kind of brainstorming really, and just sort of trying to get some general ideas down. But I think we've had a lot of pretty cool discussions so far. And yeah, always open to more ideas for that, because I think it's going to be something. I mean, from what I can say right now, the direction it's going with the Dippity Knights is it's going to be a lot of just like a building fresh, in terms of not necessarily being like, oh, we'll just kind of take the old White Knight training and add in this step or something like that. I think we're pretty much, it's going to be something very new. But we really don't have it nailed down what that is, but we've had a lot of ideas that we're kind of tossing around. So it's been fun. And then we've got from Glowering and Artie, who had talked about, how the folks in the UK can't join in on some of these events that are sort of very late at night over there. This matinee movie night is going to be on the Saturdays that Pato isn't doing his movie night, but it is at noon PST, 3 p.m. Eastern, or 8 p.m. British Standard Time on Saturday nights. So I did message Lamas to put that on the calendar, but Glog made an announcement about it too, so yeah, hopefully that should be fun.
And we couldn't have picked a better day for it, because I was like, May the 4th, I can't not do a Star Wars.
It's so true. Perfect timing.
It's very true. Oh, and one thing I forgot about House Dane, Skullrus, his old family, the Soul Jaeger, are back, and he is the Earl. So yes, that is all. There's kind of a handbook update. I think the last update I actually forgot to add the Askerstige, Ricky and Roud's family. So it's in the handbook on my computer now, as are some of these House Dane updates and stuff like this. So it should all be up to date. It's just a matter of the next time I get a chance to upload everything. And
we may or may also not be able to reveal the Grimlings may be making a return.
Yeah, that is in the handbook. Is I listed Dane's family.
Oh, excellent.
Wow, a lot of Dane stuff going on.
Yeah, Dane had wanted to be on the Council of Dane, and wanted to be sort of recognized as an Earl, and therefore have a voting seat on the council. And in one I mean, it's obviously a little bit of a debate in terms of Dane hadn't been posting in roll call or stuff like that, so it's sort of a question of, well, I mean, is he really doing all the stuff that a member needs to do? You can also make a case like, well, if you're going to make an exception, I mean, Dane is the kind of guy you'd make an exception for, And I guess in the end, it's kind of a case of, well, having his experience and knowledge and stuff on the Council of Dane is probably only going to be beneficial. And it seems like it's one of these things where there's not a lot of harm in it, in terms of it being a house position. Of course, it's House Dane after all. And so yeah, it was something that was talked about a lot. But yeah, right now he is a voting member of the Dane Council, so hopefully he can. And I think one of the things is, and I talked to Skullrus as well, is both Dane and Skullrus obviously very passionate about knights, and then wanted to kind of contribute to those talks. So I think it'll be cool for House Dane and the Rangers, or whatever the Knight Order might be, for House Dane, to have those guys helping to put the building blocks in place.
I mean, I'm completely fine with Dane being having exceptions to a lot of things because we literally would not be
I take exception to whatever was just said.
if if it were not for him. So just saying. I mean, if he that has no harm, especially because he is literally progenitor of House.
Yeah, I mean,
What?
and that was pretty much my view. And I mean, I kind of can see both sides of it, because obviously, we've tried really hard to be just a sort of this meritocracy wherein you have to earn your way up, and even if you had, X rank back in the day, you got to earn your way back up. But I think that when you're looking at something like houses and councils, which are even now, it's not like the council is necessarily the ruling body of the house. It's more so just a board of advisors for the Lord. I think having Dane there and him having access to that channel seems like a reasonable idea.
Again, at the end of the day, it's up to House Dane if they want that or not.
Yeah, and that was something I said in the council as well. I kind of, gave my 2 cents, but I said, hey, I think, this is sort of a House Dane matter. And
It did take a couple of days of debate to sort that out.
yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of gets us caught up on this week as far as I could think. Shout out to the Scribes Guild. There's been some new entries being written, people pointing out stuff to update. Not just the Scribes Guild, a few other people have pointed out stuff to us, just, looking through the codex and whatnot in Shrine of Uko, and then, pinging somebody like, hey, this should be in here, or is this here, having questions, stuff like that. That's super helpful. That, definitely keep doing that. Do that anytime. Just to know, because at this point we have, I think, something like in the neighborhood of 550 codex entries. So it's at the point where we can't really be constantly updating all of them. We just don't have the time and manpower for that. So it's easier if other people point out to us specific things they'd like to see updated, and then we can kind of prioritize that, kind of focus that way. And yeah, people, I mean, who just write their own codex entries, also very helpful. For example, your own member description and whatnot, if your biography is super helpful. Obviously, we have tried to write as many as we can, but yeah, not. We obviously can't just single-handedly write it for every member in WA history. We've had. It's hard to make an estimate, but probably I would say at least 3,000 people in WA over the course of the last almost 18 years. So it's a lot to work through there. I think the fact that we have a good, I think 150 maybe member entries is pretty good. It's an excellent start, and I mean, we're going to keep working on it and updating them and stuff like that. But so far, I'm really excited about what the whole codex of the Aesir has become, in terms of having so much of our history and stuff written down. I mean, there's entries I go back and read now that we started writing, way back when, and I don't even quite remember, like, what the entry, like, I couldn't have rewritten the entry again just from pure memory. There's stuff that I've forgotten that I'm glad that I took the time to write down at the time, because now I don't remember it anymore outside of rereading it. But yeah, I think with that, we've kind of caught up on the week's events as far as I can remember. So I'll just throw it out to anybody have any questions or thoughts or concerns. Just one brief aside. Pato is going to talk about the Warrior Moscow, anti-Moscow militia scandal sort of affair at the end of the Fireside. So once we kind of work through anything anybody wants to bring up. But yeah, anybody got anything?
On behalf of Vinio, he did mention that he may want to try and get a festival or something to honor all our Einherjar. I think he's been talking about that, and I was just wondering if anyone had any input on that. Just a day, a festival, something.
Yeah, that Kusiag had suggested that a while
Oh, is it
back.
Kusi? My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
Kusi.
did this a while ago.
Oh,
Well, I think
sorry.
no, I think Vinia said that when he posted. He said that it was this
Yeah,
was
he
an
did,
idea
he
he
did.
heard from Kusi that he just was
Gotcha.
bringing up.
I do
again.
apologize, but I there's so much going on. I don't remember every little detail. Kusiag brought up this idea. Do we have anything concrete?
I don't think we do right now. I had written it down here, it's still on my little list here, but I think a few things that Kusi had mentioned that I have written down here would be people kind of, I wrote down the term cosplay with the thinking being things like your avatar and your display name, kind of picking a favorite Einherjar and doing that, and then also having a channel where we share things like perhaps a quote from them, which is not going to be something that's available for all the Einherjar, but or else a story or just why you like them, why you think they're important, something like that. I think that could be a lot of fun, actually. I kind of, it's been sitting on the back burner for a while. I think one reason Kusi brought it up is because we sort of had this dead period between the Yarnrith and the anniversary. But I think at this point, I think if we did it, we'd have to do it pretty soon, like within a few weeks. Otherwise, we'd probably want to wait till after the anniversary. So I don't know if there's a feeling that you guys want to try to give this a go real soon, or something we want to spend some more time planning, and maybe we do it sometime like July, something like that.
We'd want to make this a repeating thing, right? Like a new festival that would repeat every year.
That would be my thinking, yeah.
I think after is better because, I mean, the anniversary of the Viking Age and also the anniversary of WA in general is pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure there's like a decent dead period in the summertime. I don't remember any other events really happening.
Yeah, we've kind of got, we've got the commanders house commander festivals for a year. There's one which is June 7th, so there's that big, which is basically coupled right with the anniversary. So there is that big sort of a gap there, wherein we could definitely slot that in. I'm just looking up in the codex trying to see. Let's see, August 31st is the festival of Selja, so we've got pretty much a solid almost 3 months. I mean, if we assume we're planning on having a Hjor thing for the 18th anniversary, so house competition, I think if we assume we do that, say in June or even starting in like a couple days before the anniversary, we've probably got a solid 2.5 months between when that ends and the festival of Areza on June 7th ends, and then the festival of Selja on August 31st. So a pretty big gap there. I think maybe July is the way to go then.
That would make sense.
Yeah, if we have another gap we need filled, I know I think Aft was looking at some kind of event, so maybe we could coordinate with him for sort of a non-Einherjar related thing as well. I don't know the specifics, sorry, but I know he mentioned something about.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, well, it's generally going to be like an ESO based event. It's called the Festival of Good Deeds. It's supposed to just celebrate good things that have been happening, like the beginning of the Asker Siege family and
Right.
our success on ESO with the guild and everything. He's been hashing that out. I haven't been too involved recently due to real life, but that's generally what it's going to be about.
Why does AF need to host another event? 420 was just a couple
Well,
weeks.
Ath couldn't participate in 420.
That was epic.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know how soon Ath was hoping to do it, but there is going to obviously be some other kind of dead periods if he wanted to make this something we do every year. Actually, after the Festival of Nostalgia, August 31st, we wouldn't really have anything until Halloween, so then you've kind of got that, which is just about a 2-month gap again, where probably we could do something, say, early October, late September would kind of fill in the gap really nicely there. I don't know if we wanted to make that when we do this Einer Yard Day, if we call it that, or I don't know how soon Ath would want to do his event. But yeah.
His idea might be to do it sometime sooner in the summer, partially because with the expansion of Elsewhere coming out for ESO, there's likely going to be a lot more players on there and a lot more people interested in ESO. So our idea is that the ESO guild and therefore people in the clan, there's going to be a lot more people from that. So it's kind of feeling out how successful that portion is. As I said, it's been really his idea and he's been working on it.
Okay, I'm seeing June 4th is when the expansion comes out. Well, I mean,
It wouldn't be right when the expansion comes out. It would be probably. I would personally think that the best time would be a little bit after.
yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, I mean, we certainly, I think, anytime he wants to do it is probably good. Like, I mean, the only other thing is June 7th is the Festival of Selja, and then that's when that dead period starts. So, yeah, probably any time in there would work. Well, maybe we should plan on doing the Einer Yard Day sometime in July then, I think, if that sounds good, because then we're kind of filling in that dead period. I think having 2 festivals in that period is fine. And yeah, we can always try to think of something else if we really want to do something from that period from August 31st to Halloween. Only problem there is then we're kind of getting into when school is starting for a lot of people. Some people might not have that much time around then anyway.
How about maybe like a good timeline would be to do the Festival of Good Deeds at like the end of June, and then the Einarhar Festival sometime between the mid to end of July. Then it seems like it's like pretty much like a month in between each. And they're all different themed, so it's not like the time when we had 2 horror things like right next to each other.
Yeah, I mean that sounds awesome to me. Cool. Well, I wrote that down. I guess we can hash out some more specifics for the Einer Yard Day. I guess if anybody has any ideas, just message any officer, because we'll probably be planning it in the all thing kind of. And yeah, I think some of the stuff I wrote down, the Kusi was mentioning, all sounds fun. But maybe if anybody has 1 or 2 more things for that, it might be cool. Something like, well, I'm not sure, but the thought that came to mind was Pato's Gricker Got, where every one of the officers had a riddle, and people could go and kind of go and ask them, and they would give the riddle and try to guess the answer, stuff like that. I think stuff like that is pretty fun, and I think we can get the participation up more too. So I don't know if there's any more ideas like that we could add to it. I think that would make it even more fun. But yeah. Well, cool. I think those should both be pretty fun, both festivals. Anybody have any other questions or anything they want to bring up? Unless anybody has anything, I think we'll probably toss it over to Pato for his talk, which sounds pretty fun.
Sounds good to me. As a heads up, if there are any mistakes in here, I blame Kusi and Ricky.
Never trust those dippities to get something done right the first time. Am I right, guys?
say the word, Vest. Say the word.
Big oof.
The number of people who have told me say the word, and I think about a dozen different people.
All right, let's get this started. Okay. Today I would like to talk about a subject of great importance to the Warriors of Aesir. Unlike some major events in our past, like the Ragnarok, this episode did not threaten the very existence of our great clan. Who is typing? Stop!
It's Kusiag, Mr. Push to Talk himself.
I was tabbing.
Oh! Oh, you're never going to hear the end of that one. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing mess up there.
Unlike some major events in our past, like the Ragnarok, this episode did not threaten the very existence of our great clan. It did, however, trigger a series of events that culminated in us losing access to enormous amounts of our written history and culture, and created a rift between members for years. I am, of course, talking about what many older members refer to as the Warrior Incident. This event doesn't have an official name. It is a lengthy season of loss for the clan, a winter from which we never truly recovered from a cultural standpoint. Let me start at the very beginning. For those of you unfamiliar with him, Sir Warrior, Royal Knight of the Bunker, is one of our many legendary Einherjar. He's a very important figure from WA's past, and someone who contributed heavily to the many facets of its existence. For a long time, Warrior was a prominent leader in WA, often serving as Dane's right-hand man, or even leading the clan himself during the Allfather's many absences. He was, without a doubt, instrumental to the success of our clan, and his loyalty was without question, even if he did not always see eye to eye with our original emperor. Unfortunately, there is one major blemish on his record that still harms us today. Not in our success as a clan, but as a historically inclined institution. The Warrior Incident happened during the winter of 2010, around December and January. This was a period when Dane was gone on LOA, and he left the Council of Officers in charge of running the Warriors of Aesir. Warrior, at the time second in command to Dane, took the opportunity of his absence to write a speech intended for the council chamber, a private section of our old forums that only the highest-ranking officers had access to. Warrior's speech was a call to rally against Dane's abuse of power. It was not, however, an attempted coup like some in the clan at the time thought. What Warrior intended was to try and limit what Dane could do on his own, and try to convince others to join him in trying to change the clan for the better. Moscow, another very prominent member from WA's past and also a leading figure at the time, saw Warrior's actions as treasonous and acted against him. He created a private conversation that included all higher-level members of the clan, not just the council. He called out Warrior publicly, blaming him for an attempted coup against Dane. Meanwhile, Warrior defended himself and pointed out that his posted speech was only a critique on the clan's current leadership style. There was much back and forth between Moscow and Warrior, who stated their positions, which prompted all the other members involved in the conversation to pick sides. Both sides of the debate got riled up, and the clan was split on what to do about the situation. The whole thing came to a head when Moscow deleted his own forum account and blamed Warrior for banning him. What happened was, when Moscow deleted his own account, the admin page of the forums displayed account Moscow deleted by blank. Because when an account was deleted, it would no longer display the account's name in archived action. Moscow took advantage of this to blame Warrior, who owned the forums, of abusing his administrative powers over the website. Soon after, Dane came back from his LOA. He was apprised of the situation, which revealed Moscow as being heavily on Dane's side, while Warrior was seen as against him. Dane was also informed of the whole forum account scandal, and when Warrior tried defending himself, the Allfather didn't believe him. And so, Warrior left the clan. Unfortunately, Warrior took the forums with him as well. As I mentioned earlier, he paid for the forums, and when he departed, he stopped providing the funds to keep the site running. When members asked him for the archival database, he also refused to relinquish it. This is how the Warriors of Aesir lost most of the information contained in the original forums. Moscow created the new forums, which are still in use today. However, the clan had to start from scratch, and much of our history was lost in this conflict. Warrior's departure also prompted many other prominent WA figures to take their leave as well. As a result of these events, the clan lost the captain of the Eye of Odin, Eldfinner, and the Vice Admiral of the fleet, Puck the Vigilant, both respected and high-ranking members at the time. With this void left in leadership, Kilroy the Ravenseer and Ricky Askerstige both ascended to admiral positions, which was a big reshuffle of the higher ranks within the clan. Dane took advantage of the chaos that ensued to tighten his grip on power in the clan. He disbanded the council, meaning most decisions went through either Dane or Moscow from then on, which left many members angry or disappointed with the clan's direction. Dane also took Warrior's departure as a good time to reinstate an empire system to take over the fleet system, which Warrior strove to put together for years. Shortly after the Warrior incident, the Second Empire era began as a result. In the end, the clan did not recover from this event for several years. A rift grew between the Moscow and Warrior factions, and there was much animosity towards Moscow and Dane by the people who felt Warrior had been made a victim in this unfortunate series of events. Relations amongst the members of WA only fully healed once Moscow took his leave many years later, and the clan never truly recovered from the loss of the original form. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm on push to talk, so I don't really know how to clap at the same time, but metaphorical clap.
Man, I
Thanks.
really can't wait for Vest to go on LOA.
Yikes, chance.
Don't
I
try
heard-
it.
But
Matthew Mercer on LOA.
again, thank you very much to both Kusiag and Ricky for giving their input on this, their firsthand experience on the situation.
I was just fighting an intense battle that whole time while you were telling the story, and the music was so epic, I was crying
Oh wow.
from the story.
I was there, man. I was talking to War on AOL Messenger on my BlackBerry, man.
AOL
Yeah.
and BlackBerry, Jesus
Messenger
Christ!
on BlackBerry.
I've never seen anyone date themselves so fucking hard.
Back when you had
Holy
trackballs and
Christ
phones.
Almighty, Kusiag.
Once upon a time, whole rebellions were coordinated through AOL and Blackberries.
I mean, they were.
It was probably more like AIM, but yeah.
It was as epic a fight as Karotic on an Apple IIe.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, fun stuff. Thank you, Pato.
No worries. It was fun learning about it.
yeah, thanks. It's nice to have a talk again at the end of Fireside. I think it's a really cool idea.
I do apologize for this one taking so long. I never had the time to get with.
Same. We've been trying for like a month here. It's been like 4 weeks, and it's like, oh, we'll talk to Pato. Oh, you're busy. All right, I'll hit you later. And then it's like, oh shit, I'm in the middle of something. Oh wait, it's next week. Oh wait, it's like a month from, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, frankly, I burned through all my kind of backup ones, so really I should try to write up some more, but I haven't had a chance.
Any other officers that want to volunteer to do a presentation? It'd be nice.
Hold up, what?
I'll be honest with you, I actually wish that I could. I sincerely do. That'd be fucking tight.
You know, you could.
Yeah,
No.
I could, but normally I'm also at work right now at Provo
Yeah.
Central Station.
Right. Forgot about that.
Work that train railroad.
You barely do your
Yeehaw.
normal Huscarl duties. Let's not give him any more work.
What the
Oh,
fuck did you
no.
just say about me?
Oh,
You're
no.
a wonderful Huscarl, man. And
Oh,
keep up
no.
the good job.
Them are so.
Hey,
That's
Vest,
toxic.
I'd like to propose a vote of no faith against Kusiag as Jarl.
You threatening me, Master Jedi?
Oh no, here we go again. He has the high
The
ground.
Senate will decide your fate.
Wrong movie.
980
Well,
no scope.
What?
3?
I think we're probably winding down here, so I'll probably go ahead and end the Fireside. Thanks again, Pato, for giving the talk. Let's throw it out if anybody has any final questions, anything you remembered or something. that anybody wanted to bring up before we sign off here?
If there's any other subjects you want covered with a talk or simply documented in the WA lesson material, let us know, and we can try to find someone to take care.
I do have something.
Yeah, sure.
In the movies sort of chat thing, can we have like just a simple like rule for if there's like ever a new movie, specifically like Endgame, like just 2 weeks, just no spoilers, even though we do have the spoiler bar.
Like no spoilers, even if they use the
like,
spoiler tag. You mean?
Yeah, like you can talk about it, but it's like don't ruin the movie because there's. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm really not, but Scotty a couple of times did accidentally forget to put the tag on there for spoiler and ruin a couple of bits.
Well,
I think
part of the
that's
whole reason
much
we
less.
created that channel is to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think that it's much less an issue of like, we need a role specific to make it so that, people don't spoil movies and shit accidentally. And I think it's more like I think it's more two-part where people also need to take responsibility for knowing where the fuck they're at. Like if you're in the movies channel, I'll be honest with you, until I saw Endgame, I straight avoided that shit like the fucking plague. I basically just muted that channel entirely
Don't
because I
even
wanted
click
people
it.
to be able to talk in there
Yep.
about the film. And that's
Well,
like the biggest thing is when you go into that movies channel, you're playing a game of Russian roulette with like, 3 rounds in the chamber. So you've got a 50-50 chance of popping yourself in the head.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying.
Wait, I want to check this out
I'm
now.
not saying like permanently like no spoilers. I'm saying like an embargo on it, where it's not like 2 weeks after the movie's release. Like after that 2 weeks, everybody should.
I wish I could understand what you're saying.
You're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Type it. Meadle.
I just changed the description for it to say use spoilers for new releases. I can't even add that to the handbook. I don't know about like. I feel like if we made it so, I'm not sure if you're saying like people have to use spoiler tags or you just can't even discuss it at all. I think
what he's saying. I think what he's saying is like he'd like to have a role for people,
No, not like.
Never mind.
A rule, I think, not a rule.
Yeah,
I think he said something about like a two-week
rule.
rule in terms of new releases before we can actually openly discuss it.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I mean, like, but talking with spoiler tags, you'd be okay with.
And I think Leta said something about 72 hours, and that seemed way too short for me.
Yeah, no, that's too short.
2 weeks. That's what I'm seeing on like a lot of the Reddit forums I read.
2 weeks on Guild Wars, on the Guild Wars sub, it's always been like a month for any new content that's released. So
2 weeks sounds good to me. I've written that down in my notes, so I'll add that to the handbook then. And yeah, I just put in the description use spoilers for new releases, so hopefully that will kind of people who happen to glance at the channel description will see that. But yeah, I think that's reasonable. We can definitely add that.
Because I know I wasn't able to see it last weekend because I was busy. I'll be seeing it this weekend, but I will be using spoilers in the future.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks seems reasonable to me. I mean, people can still talk about the movie. You can DM, you can voice, or you can just talk using spoiler tags. So you still have that option. But then yeah, that kind of I wouldn't want people to feel like, oh, I can't log on to Discord, until I see the movie or something like that. So I think that should help.
I've been able to be on Twitter for like a week now because I haven't watched the last 2 episodes of the game.
Oh yeah, I just caught up. I think I didn't actually realize I had anything spoiled for me, and then when I watched them, I was like, oh, that was a spoiler. I didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, all right. Well, yeah, I'll definitely add that. So cool. Well, anybody have anything else they would like to bring up before we kind of wind down here?
I just want to reiterate for those who weren't here before, you are all welcome to join on the matinee movie night this Saturday. Watching the announcement about it, but I know that some people might not look at it. We're trying to get a nice kickoff, so it's not just for the Brits.
What are we watching?
Star Wars Solo. It's the only Star Wars movie I can find on Netflix that isn't a new Jedi or whatever.
Rest in peace, Peter Mayhew.
Cool.
Just
was
make
that?
sure you watch out for the Rise of House Warden.
XD.
Alrighty. Well, I think yeah, with that we'll probably sign off and
Wait, you get your house, Manny?
No, shut up. We don't talk about it.
thanks everyone for showing up, watching the VODs or watching live, and we'll be back next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. See you then.